Hello beautiful people, welcome back to another episode. Last episode ended when Emperor Voice asked the Azadine, 108th Azadine, a mission is calling. The episode began with Azadine sitting down, visibly annoyed, as he complained to the Emperor's voice, "It's only been 2 hours since I fell asleep." The Emperor's voice, seated next to Azadine, responded solemnly, "Only those who respond when justice calls are worthy of being my heretic." Azadine, rubbing his eyes wearily, retorted, "Have you seen people like that?" From his experience, most of the Emperor's heretics he had encountered were not exactly eager to heed the call. Azadine saw himself as someone who could not turn away from justice, yet he noted that other heretics often displayed even less emotion. It was the nature of their contract, a bond that often disregarded personal intent, ingrained into their bloodline, making the Emperor's voice infallible. Yet, Azadine felt this was not the moment for such declarations. The call for help typically meant someone was in dire straits. Just then, the barn door swung open with a resounding bang, and the son of the farmer burst in, his voice desperate as he pleaded, "Please, save me." Reacting swiftly, Azadine leaped to the ground floor. Medayam, Ismail, and Tarki were still cocooned in their blankets, slow to respond. Azadine grasped the farmer's son by the shoulder, his expression marked with concern. "What's happening?" he inquired. The boy was tearful, his skin flushed from exertion, soaked in sweat, his legs trembling, and notably, his shoes were missing. Choking back sobs, the boy managed to say, "My father has been murdered." "In the woods?" Azadine's brow furrowed in alarm. "Murdered? By what?" The child, struggling to maintain his composure, cried out, "Murdered by an arrow from the knights." Outside the farm, the bodies of many farmers lay strewn across the ground, victims of a massacre initiated by Sir Kazra and his trainees. One trainee withdrew his spear from a deceased farmer, a look of grim satisfaction on his face as if convinced of the righteousness of his actions. Behind him, Sir Kazra inquired anxiously, "Did you find the child?" The trainee knight turned back, while another responded, "No, I can't even see his nose, he's hiding somewhere." Sir Kazra surveyed the carnage, his thoughts troubled. He muttered to himself, annoyed, "You will die where your parents died. You are hiding and complicating things unnecessarily." He rationalized that the only way forward was through harsh actions. If you kill an innocent civilian, you'll be hanged. There is a path to forgiveness through repentance, but he knew that if a trainee knight accidentally killed someone, they could become a penitent knight, undergoing severe penance to atone for their sins. This penance required the knight to travel the world without church support, battling monsters, aiding people, sleeping outdoors, and wandering the wilderness until pardoned by a bishop. Few penitent knights succeeded and were reinstated, most turned to banditry or perished. Sir Kazra was aware that the bishop was generally merciful and allowed knights a chance to change. However, given the biases of the Bishop of Salasma, knights from modest backgrounds were often doomed to execution. It is still uncertain whether the act of repentance will be approved, he thought bitterly. Damn it. I cannot become a penitent knight at this age. It would ruin my daughter's future. Sir Kazra had already faced criticism for his past indiscretions, including adultery and fathering an illegitimate child. The revelation that he had killed civilians would push him to the brink. Becoming a penitent knight would make his daughter's life exceedingly difficult. "As a father, I would do anything for her," he resolved. With reluctance, Sir Kazra led his hesitant trainee knights toward the farm, instructing them, "There must be more people hiding. Find and kill them. It's a small town that might not even be known elsewhere." Suddenly, a trainee with a scarred nose heard footsteps. He turned sharply and spotted a woman running. Pointing her out, he exclaimed, "Excuse me," but the woman sprinted away. The spear-wielding trainee launched his weapon with all his might. The spear flew through the air and struck the fleeing woman, causing her to fall to the ground with a loud thud. 3 trainees approached the fallen woman. The one who had thrown the spear relaxed his shoulders and remarked, "My hand slipped because of the blood on my spear." Sitting down beside her, he struggled to remove the spear, adding nonchalantly, "Let's take it easy, Grandma." A stone, hurtling through the air at full speed, struck a trainee knight on the head. Despite wearing a helmet, the impact caused his eyes to reel from the shock, and he collapsed beside the woman he had been attempting to kill. The woman looked at him, her expression a mix of confusion and panic. Another trainee knight, noticing his fallen comrade, exclaimed in alarm, "Tasik, what happened?" Meanwhile, Sir Kazra, standing nearby, scanned the surroundings as another stone flew toward him at high velocity. With a swift motion of his sword, he sliced the stone into pieces. Holding his sword aloft, Sir Kazra bellowed, "Who are you?" Footsteps approached, and then Azadine appeared, rubbing his neck wearily. He remarked, "I am so tired, I don't feel like I have much power left." A trainee knight wielding a spear charged at Azadine, taunting, "Hey, want to try this?" As he swung his spear, Azadine leaped into the air to dodge the attack, landing gracefully back on the ground. Azadine thought to himself, "The spear has a long range, but I'm unarmed. Well then, I guess I'll have to take it." He picked up a stone from the ground and, with all his might, hurled it at the trainee knight, shouting, "The flower, bird, wind, moon Kazra's style." The knight, seeing Azadine's stance, turned his head to dodge the stone, scoffing, "Should I get hit by stones twice?" Azadine then called out, "Yellow crane," as the stone, thrown with expert precision, altered its trajectory in midair and penetrated the trainee's body, despite the knight's prediction that it wouldn't. This wasn't a result of magical energy altering the stone's path, rather, it was a pure kinetic feat, breaking through the air and altering its trajectory. Normally, smooth stones didn't change direction well, but to alter the angle, they needed some manipulation. Azadine had cleverly applied wax to his skin, which he had rubbed again, before throwing the stone, enhancing his throw. As the trainee knight stumbled backward from the impact, Azadine launched himself into the air and delivered a powerful kick to the knight's abdomen. The force sent the trainee flying through the air. Azadine then seized the knight's spear and, holding it triumphantly, looked pleased with himself. Seeing this, another worried trainee knight rushed forward at a terrifying speed. Just then, a commanding voice rang out, "Step back." Both the trainee knight and Azadine turned towards the source of the voice. In the midst of a heated confrontation, Sir Kazra addressed Azadine sharply. "Look, are you causing trouble here, knowing full well that we are holy knights of the King's Church?" Azadine, standing his ground, retorted, "Knight, are those who slaughter the people of hubris considered holy knights?" Sir Kazra, inflamed by the accusation, responded, "They are members of a cult." Azadine, skeptical, pressed further, "Do you have proof?" His question silenced the trainee knights. They had escalated the situation far beyond their original intention. Initially, they had fired a stray arrow and, in an attempt to cover up their mistake, ended up slaughtering everyone to prevent any witnesses. Azadine then challenged Sir Kazra's justification. "So, a couple who wakes at dawn to toil in the fields are cult members?" Frustrated, Sir Kazra asserted, "We are holy knights, and I am skilled at identifying cult members. Do you dare question our judgment? Are you, perhaps, a member of the cult yourself?" Drawing his sword, Sir Kazra declared, "It seems you do not recognize the authority of the King's Church. You must be a cultist too." Azadine calmly responded, "No, I'm merely a pilgrim." As Sir Kazra prepared to strike, a dazzling light burst from his sword, momentarily blinding those nearby. Azadine, concerned for an elderly woman close by, called out, "Close your eyes." While running to shield her, Azadine recalled a similar tactic used by a short-haired, illegitimate child he had encountered before, blinding the opponent with intense light followed by an attack. This simple yet effective magic and sword combination was a common strategy among holy knights. However, Azadine's vision wasn't normal. His unique abilities rendered him immune to such blinding tactics, though he feigned discomfort to mislead Sir Kazra. As Sir Kazra charged, emboldened by the supposed advantage, he suddenly retreated. 2 arrows pierced through the flash of light. Sir Kazra managed to slice one arrow with his sword and block the other with his armor. Both of them flew toward the weak spot on his armor. One was aimed at the inside of the thigh, and another was at the neck joint. A skilled attack that betrayed a deep knowledge of weak spots in armor. These arrows had been loosed by Ismail and Mediam, who, seeing Azadine outnumbered, had joined the fray with their ranged weapons. To be continued. This is it for today's episode. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. See you in the next episode, stay tuned.